The Stars and Stripes show is brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.
It's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. This one is Mr. O and Leroy, and as well as Kennedy Thal. It's titled Give It To Me, and it's the track that we're going to open up the show. And in the building, I do have Mr. Kennedy Thal in the building representing Kai Isa Holdings. Re ala leteng.
We are very good. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. And it's nice you wear so many different hats.
Many. I'm wearing one now. It says the Stars and Stripes radio show from the American Embassy.
I like that. I like that. And of course, we have Emilia Adams, who is the U.S. Embassy Public Affairs Officer. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to be back.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You know, we should see you a lot more, Emilia.
I know. I'm just pulled in so many directions. But when I get to be back, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. Well, welcome to the show. And today we're talking about fostering the spirit of volunteerism. Listen to this. With most of us leading super busy lives, the idea of volunteering, giving your time and energy to a cause without financial reward may seem like an impossible task. And you know, whether we like it or not, volunteerism is the first cousin of what I call social entrepreneurship. It is something that we need to do. It can carry us forward. The past 2 years have been very difficult. Imagine COVID-19. We've just got out of lockdowns, etc., etc. But that also means somebody is going through a difficult time. And that is what we're going to be discussing today. Emilia, let me start with you. Have you ever volunteered?
Yes.
Walk us through your volunteering profile, for lack of a better word. Give it to us.
So I'm presenting my resume on volunteering.
Basically,
Right.
basically.
Well,
talk to us.
You know, volunteering in the United States, it's part of who we are as a people. It's ingrained in our culture.
Okay.
And from a very early age, I grew up volunteering, donating clothes to less fortunate. On our Thanksgiving, and you'll see that former President Obama just did this as well. We would go in and work at a soup kitchen and serve food and meals to the homeless or others in need. So those types of things we grew up doing on a daily basis, constantly assessing our personal lives and seeing where we could just take from something that we have and we produce and share with others.
Yeah.
Other things I've done growing up, I've worked at animal shelters, walking dogs, cleaning up, helping to make sure that there's animal control. You know, when you're in Botswana or other places, even in the States, and you see stray dogs, you see stray cats, and sometimes they're a risk to people's personal health, to public safety.
Yes.
Working at SPCA or other animal shelters helps to control that and takes care of the problem. Other things that I've done most recently is work on a community garden project that we're going to talk about a little bit later today.
Nice. Let me ask you, how old were you when you first started volunteering?
You know, I can't say an exact age.
Oh,
but,
estimation.
It's one of those things that you grow up always knowing because it's always around you. So 3, 4, I remember when I was a 3-year-old, my mother saying to me, we're taking items that we're not using to those less fortunate. And I'd go in my room and I'd pick toys that I wanted to give to other children. And it got to a point where it wasn't something that, you know, my mother or family members were asking me to do. I would say, I'm done with this. I would like to give. So can we take this? Or actually, my mom joked and said, I would give toys to my friends when they came over and say, I want to give this. And sometimes my mom would joke and say, well, we just got you that. So maybe not. But
don't over-volunteer.
Yes. But I think volunteering is something that's ingrained from a very early age for me. And I look for opportunities. I mean, some stuff seems traditional, like go to a soup kitchen, volunteer with animals, or, you know, help the elderly, or, go to a hospital. But I think you don't have to do formal volunteering or go to a formal establishment to incorporate volunteerism into your life.
Absolutely. Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world, and welcome to the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM, America in Botswana, and we're talking about volunteerism. Kennedy, let me bring you into the conversation. Botswana, you've grown up on this side of the world and you're well traveled as well. But what does volunteerism mean to you, and why is it important? Why is this a conversation worth having?
Well, I think it is important, especially here, Botswana, that we build a sense of community and responsibility within our community and communities. And I think it is something that is very underlooked here in Botswana specifically. And it's something that we have room for improvement. You know, volunteering, like Amelia is saying, in the United States, it's part of the culture.
Yes.
And if we can bring that here, you know, there's so many things we can tackle. Just look at the littering problem, for instance.
Absolutely.
If we all had the social responsibility to take care of the littering in our immediate vicinity, not even in phase 2, if you live in phase 1, if everyone there just has that social responsibility to really just push themselves, we wouldn't have this problem that we have, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That would be definitely rooted in volunteerism.
Absolutely. Well, look, I've been to the U.S. I'm an alumni of one of your programs. And one thing that, just to add into what Kennedy is saying, I do not remember the department, but I think there's a government department in line with volunteerism. And I went to that particular department when I was in the U.S. But one thing that I could see is that, you know, it is so important to ingrain volunteerism in your everyday life from a policy point of view as well, because we need to see and understand the importance of volunteering and the multiplier effects of volunteering. Climate change is a huge issue. Littering, I mean, the mask issue. We see masks everywhere. Day. Everywhere. And as you say, that's not city council's responsibility. It is a social and a citizenry that must take responsibility for that. So Kennedy, talk to me about what you do, why you're here, and of course, you know, in line with the spirit of volunteerism.
Right. So you did say that I wear many hats, and I don't need to talk about all the hats that I wear. I'm going to talk about the hat that I'm wearing in my capacity today. And so I'm here in collaboration with the American Embassy in Botswana. And what we want to really focus on is that we have built a community space, a community garden that, you know, the primary objective is to foster a spirit of community and social responsibility and volunteerism. And so what I'm here to do today is just to talk about this space and to make the public aware of this space, that it exists. And, you know, we have big plans for this space, Amelia and I, on behalf of the American Embassy in Botswana.
So where is this place? What are the terms and conditions of accessing this place, and, you know, those kind of things?
So the park is located in Extension 11. And as far as it being open, that will be divulged in the time to come. But what you can do is you most definitely can go on our website. It is mabogodinkugarden.com.
It's got a website. Wow.
Of course it has a website. And it is live. And if you go on there, which we'll talk more about as the show progresses, you can get all the information you need on what it is this garden is, which of course we'll share today.
Absolutely.
And how you as a member of the community can integrate yourself into this space and make yourself valuable and an asset to this space, because that is what we need the most. And that's why we're here today, is to enthuse members of the public that this is a space that exists.
Yes.
Please volunteer your time.
Nice.
To this space.
Nice. Well, it's Gabs Empowered to Engage Your World, highlighting the bilateral relationship between the U.S. government and the BW government, and we're talking shared prosperity, the importance of volunteerism. Amelia, let me bring you back into the conversation. Why is it important for young people to, you know, cultivate the spirit of volunteerism?
I think there's a number of reasons why young people should volunteer. One, for personal reasons. It develops a strong sense of work ethic, a strong sense of commitment to community, and a sense of belonging. Understanding that, you know, as Kennedy was talking about, you know, littering issues or problems in communities, you know, my son, I'd hope to foster in him. When we walk outside, he's like, there's trash on the ground. We should pick that up.
Wow.
You know, and that's because I want him to understand that just because there's something on the ground, we shouldn't expect someone else to do it.
Absolutely.
I know we pay taxes. I know there are government services. But volunteerism also shows personal ownership and responsibility for your community.
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing. Second, and we'll talk about this later when we talk about Education USA opportunities, but in the United States, if you want to study there, one part of integral and really important part of the application process is volunteering.
Okay.
You know, because it is such an important part of American culture, American universities and colleges want to see, as you are growing up and you are preparing your college application, what have you done to contribute and grow your community? Outside of it's one thing to get straight A's, it's one thing to get good marks. It's another thing to say, what's your value added for a community? Are you a good citizen? So I think those are two very fundamental parts. But also, volunteering is important for keeping the community together. I mean, there are gaps. There are gaps not only in Botswana, there are gaps in the United States. And volunteers step in to fill those things. We shouldn't expect and rely on the government to do everything.
Well, be the change you want to see.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Kennedy, let's talk about, why is it important to advise young people to be volunteers? Why is it important to cultivate that culture? Why should, and the thing is, young people have a lot of energy. They have a lot more time. Why is it important for somebody or Motswana reditseng go Kalahari or go Phalape? Why is it important for them to adopt this frame of mind?
Well, like Emilia said, this builds character. And I want to give an example because I have a client that I've been working with in regards to landscaping that just moved back here. And she said something that I found really spoke to me. She said, and I'll say it first ka Setswana. Mo Botswana motho khona go hela jarata ya gagwe a ba sala matlakala a ba go atholela ko ntle. Maybe last na bothata go rela gore ene jarata ha linteng go sekolo o siane matlakala ha tswa ha wa go atholela ko ntle, right? And that is kind of the shift that we're trying to get. And just to explain for the non-Setswana listeners and for Emilia's sake,
Thank you.
Yes.
is that what this lady was saying is that, often someone will clean their yard and then take that litter and dump it outside. And so long as where they are, their immediate space is clean, it doesn't really affect them if their vicinity outside of their personal space isn't clean, right? And this is what we're trying to speak to, is that sense and that feeling of commitment to the community at large, not just your personal space. And I think that's the character we're trying to build within people, is that you have a responsibility, not just to yourself, but to the people around you.
Absolutely.
And if we collectively assume that responsibility, for instance, we won't have a littering problem.
Yes.
And it is impossible for us to even think of relying just on the city council to combat littering. If we,
Take
me as
responsibility.
Kennedy and Emilia and yourself don't take that responsibility and that initiative, right? And like she was saying, like Emilia was saying, her son saw just trash on the floor and felt the responsibility to pick it up. We need everyone's child to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have an issue of illegal dumping in Botswana. My kids go to school in Block 8, and there's a little double up that you can do through. If you drive in between that area, it is absolutely disgusting.
Right.
Where people come and, we don't do waste segregation in this country. So a plastic bag has everything from food to electronics to bottles, and you can tell that exactly what you're saying. Moto ohela jarata, make sure that their immediate vicinity is clean.
It's fine.
And then they take that trash and they illegally dump it.
Right.
So it is definitely an issue why volunteerism is important, and we've got to play our part. Being the change you want to see is an important component of what humanity needs to do. It's not a US citizen or BW citizen. It's what we all got to do. And that is why, volunteerism must be brought back. I personally think that, we need to bring back that culture and learn from the Americans in line with policy, in line with your first job. For example, we need to say, in HR, your first job, let's look at what you've done in terms of volunteerism to boost your profile, because those little things create such a multiplier effect that tomorrow you birth what I call social entrepreneurship. And I believe that's something that you're doing. Let's talk about Maboro Dinku Garden. What is your role there? How did you get involved with that?
So basically what we did is we designed a garden in collaboration with the American Embassy here in Botswana. and the Gaborone City Council.
Okay.
And what this garden is, let me first just explain the garden itself.
Please do.
Right? It has many components. We have at the garden a lending library.
Okay.
And what a lending library is, which actually was Amelia's concept,
Wow.
is you can come in, you can leave books, you can take a book, right?
Okay, nice.
And so it is a community-driven initiative.
Yes.
You come in, you leave kids' books, you leave whatever books, and then someone else takes those books and leaves other books that they are no longer in need of. We have a learning center where we are planning to have children come and do outdoor classes.
Yes.
Outdoor classes on gardening, on the environment, on whatever, right? In that beautiful space.
Wow.
We have 8, right now as we speak, 8 raised vegetable garden beds where members of the community can come and cultivate these beds and grow and harvest and sell.
Wow.
We have a wildflower indigenous garden, right? So, sorry, we have a wildflower garden. These are separate things.
Okay.
Which is a garden of an assortment of wildflowers. And we have an indigenous garden, which comprise basically just of indigenous plant life. And so, you know,
So it's a space where one can also learn, one can, you know, and you know, there's a correlation between gardening and psychology, you know.
Right.
Young people are also stuck muntlung, they're always on TVs, they're always on gadgets.
Oh,
so
definitely.
this is a community project that says, look, mommy and daddy, you can bring the kids here, you can sit under a tree and experience, you know, what it is to be in nature. We have so many educational elements part of the garden, and the kids can do something on the other side, and who knows, you can have a picnic.
oh, for sure.
Am I capturing what it is and what it
Most
represents?
definitely. We have 50 different citrus trees that we've planted.
50. Wow.
And these are all different varieties. Different varieties of orange, lemon, shaddock, kumquat,
Wow.
navel, caracara, Washington, late Valencia. We have all the varieties. And what we want is for people to come into this space and take that in and develop a love for something that involves the outdoors, involves community and community building, and move people away from, like you're saying, just being on their devices.
Yes.
You know, I find that our devices sometimes are kind of the antithesis of community.
Yes.
They're very
Well,
me,
well,
my world,
Yes.
what I am into. And we need our kids and adults to come into spaces that foster a sense of us,
Yes.
community, we, right? And the garden is that. The garden is going to be a space where people can come and volunteer. We're going to have a volunteer program running. Again, go on the website and check that out, where you can come in every Thursday and every Sunday, and you can just take 2 hours of your day that you could have spent watching a soapy.
Yes.
You could have spent scrolling Instagram.
Yes.
Right? But instead you can come into this space and hone a love for something.
Let me
learn. Right.
Okay, sorry.
No, interject by all means.
Just highlight the role that the U.S. Embassy played in creating this serene environment. What was the role of the U.S. Embassy in line with this? And Amelia, I'd like to ask you why. You know, why would the U.S. Embassy go and say, okay, let's invest in a garden, a community garden? You know, just explain to us the why.
Well, you know, this dream of a garden that is now a reality that we had goes all the way back to January 2021.
Okay.
This is in the middle of the COVID-19 isolation protocols that are, you know, happening in Botswana, all over the world. And the public diplomacy office at the U.S. Embassy wanted to come up with a creative way to connect with people in person in a safe environment.
Oh,
so we
okay,
came up with the
nice.
idea to partner with the Gaborone City Council and come up with a community garden concept. So we met with City Council and we toured several sites and venues, and they identified a space that would be best to launch this project, and hence how we ended up in the Extension 11 Park to start the Mabohu Dinku garden project.
Wow.
So initially, it was to create a way for people to come together and commune. But on top of that, there are all these other added benefits. We wanted to create a space for people to come and volunteer and to be together and to be able to walk away with something that they added to, but also that they were able to carry. We wanted to create a learning space.
Yes.
There are so many fantastic indigenous plants and just products in general that can be generated here in Botswana that I found from my experience, my meetings, that a lot of the general public aren't even aware of. Hence why I wanted to work with Kennedy in curating an indigenous garden so that people can come in and understand where those plants are and hold classes on what you can do with them.
Absolutely.
Like looking at marula or some of the other products that could possibly even be exported. Beyond that, education is important. We talk about looking at phones. Hence the little lending libraries.
Yes.
These are libraries that encourage volunteerism because you have to bring a book. And
In order to get a book.
Yeah, or you can take, and then later on when you're done, bring it back. I don't want people to feel that they have to have something to give. But one thing about the garden is it's only going to work if the people that come in there make it work. So it's completely dependent on the community. This garden can be as big as Botswana wants it to be, or it can be nothing because people will not come and curate it. Right. We are hopeful that we'll fall somewhere in the middle or that we go even bigger than this because the community will embrace this space, take ownership, but most importantly, the community will make this garden what they want it to be.
It's powerful. The Stars and Stripes radio show and a beautiful model of what I call the shared economy. Whether we like it or not, we are part and parcel of the shared economy, and volunteerism works. It is something that, and I'd like to applaud the U.S. Embassy. I'd like to applaud the City Council and, of course, your entity, Mr. Thal. Well done for coming together and modeling what people can do under one common goal to say, look, when we work together, we can achieve a lot more. 11:34 is your time. Do not change that dial. We're going to continue shortly after this. Good morning. It's Gabs FM, powered to engage your world, and welcome to the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM, where we highlight the bilateral relationship between the U.S. government and the BW government, which results in shared prosperity. And of course, I'd like to applaud the City Council of Gaborone and of course the U.S. Embassy for coming together and creating such a beautiful example of volunteerism and solely dependent on you, the biggest stakeholder of Botswana Pty Ltd. Look, Kennedy, let's talk. What activities, someone is listening, they live in that area, not even far from that area, they would like to get involved. They want to say, okay, look, you guys have sparked my interest in volunteerism. How can they get involved? What is there? What more can you offer?
Okay, so obviously we've already touched base on the volunteer program.
Yes.
And just reiterate, right?
Yes.
Go on the website and you can sign up. We did have a technical issue in the beginning where the website wasn't fully functional.
Okay.
That has been sorted. We have mobilized. You can go on the website and sign up for the volunteer program.
Okay.
Pick a specific day, lock it in, and we will know. And we will be in touch with you to tell you we know, and you can come and you will have a great volunteer experience. Now, on top of that, we're trying to do, and we will do, activities that are free to the public.
Okay.
One of those will be a free yoga class every Sunday morning, the first and the third Sunday of each month.
Wow.
This is with a very talented gentleman called Drake, Yoga with Drake.
Nice.
And all you have to do is sign up. You just sign up. You come for a yoga class, you bring your mat and your water.
Yes.
And you're going to have a great experience with other members of the community.
Okay.
We're also running a master class. That is the Kennedy Thal Master Class, Garden Master Class.
Yes.
And so you can come and you can take a gardening class with me, and we'll cover a multitude, a plethora of things, from pruning to up-potting a plant. You name it, right?
Okay. Okay, and the website, what is the website if somebody's interested and they'd like to be part and parcel of it? The Mabogodinku Community Park.
So the official website is mabogodinku.squarespace.com. I'm going to say that again. It is mabogodinku.squarespace.com.
Okay.
And once you're on that website, just navigate the website, please. See what we have to offer, because it's more than just the volunteer program. It's more than just the activities. You can donate on this website, which again, this is part of the community building, right? The park will always need supplies. The park will always need things for it to run and to grow.
Absolutely.
You can donate trees. You can donate fertilizer. You can donate seed. Anything that you have that you don't need. When you buy a packet of seed, you get a lot of seed.
Absolutely.
You don't need all that seed if you're listening. You can donate that seed to the community garden, okay?
I like that. It's Gabs FM Power to Engage Your World. Look, we're going to take a short break. I'm going to jump into the next segment called Ask the Chargé or Ask the Acting Ambassador. This is where you get to ask the U.S. Embassy and the Acting Ambassador of the United States Embassy to Botswana, Her Excellency Amanda Jacobson, any question, any burning question that you'd like to ask. And this is what you had to see. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Great question. Let's go.
You know, I'm really trying to focus on the being here and now and being the best leader that I can be for my community of American and Botswana colleagues. I'm a committed diplomat and definitely see myself continuing to serve overseas, working with youth, refugees, journalists, and community leaders, similar to what I am doing now for the rest of my career.
Well, it's Gabs FM Power to Engage Your World. 11:40 is your time across the nation, kings and queens. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And do not change that dial. You're on the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy. Good morning. It's Gabs FM Power to Engage Your World. This one is titled Passport Stamps, and it's Zeus alongside Amara Brown. Kings and Queens, 11:44 is your time. And of course, welcome to the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM. On 3956962. Where do you volunteer? You know, one thing that I would like to encourage, before you point a finger, you've got to answer this question. Where do you volunteer as the biggest stakeholder of Botswana Pty Ltd? It's not enough for us to always point fingers at the government, always blame everybody else except for ourselves. So I doubt you like this question, but it is a question that is meant to spark you to think that, you know what, Nakele Tsepiso driving, Nakele Swift, what do I do in my everyday community? What do I do to contribute to a better Botswana? Outside of paying your taxes, we appreciate that part, but what are you doing? And quickly, we're going to jump into our next segment called Chasing the Dream. And personally, this is one of the most important segments for myself and one of my absolute favorite segments of the show. This is where you get to hear about all the educational opportunities that the U.S. Embassy offers through its Education USA office for prospective students, academics, and professionals. And to bring this particular segment to life, we have Amelia Adams from the U.S. Embassy. How are you, Amelia? Talk to me. What opportunities are there for me and you and the Botswana listening?
Well, first, I think it's important to say that the Education USA office, we don't provide scholarships.
Yes.
But what we do is we connect students to funding opportunities and scholarships offered by other institutions.
Okay.
So one of the things I wanted to highlight today, and it's also on our Facebook page, so if you don't catch all the information that I'm saying now, go on there, click on the link, and you'll find it. We'll reflag it after the show.
Absolutely.
But there's one, since we're talking about volunteerism and service, there's one particular scholarship out there, and there's more than this. This is just the one we're highlighting because it's live right now.
Okay.
Offered through the University of Oregon.
All right.
It's called International Cultural Service Program, ISCP. This scholarship, it's based on financial need, academic merit, and ability to give presentations to diverse groups. So what's unique about this scholarship is if you're given the money or the funding to study at University of Oregon, you will actually be volunteering while you're doing your studies at that university.
Wow.
The selected participants will be given the opportunity to present on cultural aspects of their life. So to American students, to children, to other staff and faculty at the university. Wow. So this is a fantastic opportunity if you're interested in volunteering and sharing your culture with the American culture. Because another thing that's really important to American culture and society is making sure that we're inclusive and we learn about what everyone's bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
So I love that this scholarship offers the opportunity not only to bring in someone from whoever applies around the world to study at University of Oregon, but also gives the opportunity for them to give back and share their culture.
Absolutely.
I would love to see someone from Botswana receive this scholarship and have the opportunity to share the rich culture that is in Botswana with the American people.
Absolutely. Well, please follow all the U.S. Embassy social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or just Google it, because these are opportunities that, whether we like it or not, education is the key to a better tomorrow. And these are opportunities that the U.S. government provides. And like they say, it's facilitated through the U.S. Embassy. Imagine going to school and being granted a scholarship that could change your life, that could change your destiny, that could change your family's life. And of course, that could change the Republic of Botswana. Kennedy, let me bring you back into the conversation, and well done. I'd like to sincerely applaud you for what you've done with this particular Mabogodinku community garden. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I think we need to develop a lot more of these recreational open spaces for a place of serenity that we would enjoy. I think that is important to say. And you've definitely modeled the importance of private-public partnerships, because what you've done with this particular initiative is you brought in different stakeholders. Talk to me about, the role of Ipelegeng, the role of the VDC in this particular initiative.
So firstly, I wanted to thank them.
Yes.
Actually, I want to thank the VDC. I want to thank everyone at Ipelegeng, because they play an integral part in the functioning of the garden. The members of the VDC are constantly at the park.
Wow.
Every week, making sure that things run. They really, honestly, I believe, hold the park near and dear to their hearts.
Yes.
And the people at Ipelegeng, obviously,
Yes.
it is part and parcel, volunteerism.
Absolutely.
They come and they help maintain that space.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think just to applaud them as well, that, they are doing a stellar job in maintaining this space and helping the garden to sustain.
Wow. It's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. And of course, we're fast coming to the end of the show. But guess what? I got some giveaways to give you on behalf of the U.S. Embassy. So one thing, you're not going to get it easy this time. You've got to tell me where you are volunteering, or you've got to commit to volunteering yourself. One of the two questions, and all you got to do is call us on 395-6962, and we're going to give you some gifts. You'd like to say something?
And if you want to volunteer for the garden, you may get two gifts.
Actually, you know what? And if you're not a volunteer, you have to commit to volunteering at the garden, because the idea is to create the important. And we haven't even touched on the psychological rewards that you get from doing good. I can imagine that after you launched that garden and, you saw it come to life, the psychological, benefits of that for you to say, wow, we did something amazing. And for the both of you, and those are things that we got to do. Do not change that dial. 11:51. Okay, I've got a caller. Let me take this call. Gabs FM, good morning. How are you? Hello? Hello?
How are you?
Complaining doesn't pay my bills. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Where do you volunteer? Are you a volunteer?
Tlamelong Rehabilitation Center in Tokweng.
Okay, then you win. As long as you're a volunteer, hold the line. Let me take your details. And of course, please would like you guys to engage the U.S. Embassy in terms of how you can engage and bring rehabilitation services into such a space. Gardening and psychology go hand in hand. Just hold that dial. Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage your world. Sir, leave us with the last words. Why is volunteerism important? Hello? 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 Did I lose you?
Oh, hello.
Yes, just explain to us as in the nation, why is volunteerism important?
You know what, because it's working. Uthusa batho e se khaya gore batho ka wa bona ele go batsa halfway.
Era. Oh, thank you so much and congratulations. Thank you so much. We'll definitely reach out for you to come get your gift. Gabs FM, power to engage. Well, do I have any more gifts? 3956962. Call in. Tell us where you're volunteering, and we'd like to get one volunteer or two volunteers to come and volunteer at Mabogodinku Community Park, located in Extension 11. They have so much for you to do. They have a lending library, indigenous plants. They've got a beautiful lawn, green grass. If I'm not mistaken, they have so much for you to offer. Please feel free. 3956962. And you don't even know what I'm giving you because it's already Christmas, but it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to receive. But you cannot receive if you cannot give. So look out for it. Kings and Queens, good morning.
The Stars and Stripes show was brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.
Well, it's Gabs FM, power to engage. Well, 3956962. I've got some great giveaways in the building. Please call us on 3956962, courtesy of the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in partnership with Gabs FM, and of course, Talking America in Botswana. Volunteerism is the solution for a better Botswana. And of course, 3956962. Halasan Telet, hey, you're showcasing to me that you guys don't like volunteerism. But when I talk about other issues, which I won't name today, you guys always call me. Okay, we've got somebody. Gabs FM, good morning. How are you?
Good day, sir. How are you?
Complaining doesn't pay me. Where do you volunteer, sir?
I would like to volunteer, please.
Oh, you'd like to volunteer. Great. Okay, let me get your details off air, and then we're definitely going to call you. Just hold the line, okay?
That's lovely.
Thank you so much. Can you, before we love and leave you, can you tell us why you'd like to volunteer? Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you so much, brother.
All right. Gabs FM, power to engage your world. His line was a bit inaudible, but hey, we got one. We got one. Are you guys happy?
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Let's continue conversation. 3956962. I can squeeze in one more caller. 3956962. If you'd like to volunteer, please call in. Let me tell you something. I've been volunteering for over 15 years. There's nothing better than doing something special for somebody who really, really needs it. I think I'm one of the most selfish volunteers because I do it for that particular feeling, for that dopamine that I get after helping somebody who is in need. I don't really put it on social media. I just do it for myself. And my wife and I and our kids are trying to actually do a Christmas lunch in the community of Buntleng on Christmas Day and just sit down, eat some food with some people and just share and break bread, you know. So this is why it's important. I've got to thank the U.S. Embassy. I've got to thank Mabogodinku Community Park and anybody who was involved with this particular initiative. Guys, well done. We applaud you. Let's continue. This should be an inspiration for you to go ahead and do your part in your communities. This should be an inspiration for this festive season. Start volunteering. All you got to do is take a walk with you and your loved ones and pick up litter. Right, Kennedy?
Yes.
Where can somebody find you? They'd like to be a part of this. Let's echo the website again. Somebody saying, I want to be a part of it. I'm proud of you. Where can we find you?
Perfect. So the official website, once again, is mabogodinku.squarespace.com. I'm going to say that one more time.
Please do.
It is mabogodinku.squarespace.com. We will have live as well an Instagram and a Facebook page.
Okay.
Everything will be the same username at Mabogodinku Garden. Very simple to find.
Absolutely. Emilia, let me give you this opportunity to share your parting statement. What would you like to say in line with goodbye? And you got to say Merry Christmas at least.
I will say happy holidays.
Okay.
And Merry Christmas, but also happy holidays for those who don't celebrate. I know this is a festive season
Yes.
for all different people. And again, we like to practice inclusivity here.
Absolutely.
At the US Embassy. But I just want to encourage everybody to come out. Kennedy will be there. I hope maybe he's a little bit of a draw. I know I'm probably not, but I'll also be there.
Absolutely.
And be working. So come out. You might surprise yourself. It sounds a little bit like work. It is work, but it's also fun and
Yes.
community and convening in that way. So happy holidays, and we hope to see you soon in person.
Absolutely. That's how we close the Stars and Stripes radio show, proudly brought to you by the U.S. Mission in partnership with Gabs FM. Hashtag America in Botswana. Good afternoon.
The Stars and Stripes show was brought to you by the U.S. Embassy.